let's talk about the different industries that we have in a response to the entry and exit of firms. And so let's just say there's an increase in demand causing that increase in profits. So based off what we just talked about, more firms are going to enter the market and this increases supply. Now, there will be a new equilibrium and this will tell us what kind of industry we have. Now, there are three options. There is either an increasing cost industry, a constant cost industry, or a decreasing cost industry. So the increasing cost industry basically showing us that if we were to create more firms, creating more product, it's actually costing a higher amount to make the higher quantity, right? Thinking back to some industries where there's let's say coffee. If there were more firms trying to produce coffee, they need to buy more coffee, which does decrease the amount available in the terms of the farms. So because of that, their cost of the coffee beans will be higher. So we would see an increase in the equilibrium price because we're trying to make more, the cost will be higher, so the new equilibrium price will be higher. If we were in a different industry and we saw more firms enter, and in fact the equilibrium price was unaffected, this means that we were able to produce more but at the same cost because the price doesn't change. Constant cost industry. But if we were in an industry where maybe technology is involved, where actually we're having economies of scale to where we produce more and actually lowered our costs so we can lower the equilibrium, we can actually see this big increase in supply, then we're in a decreasing cost industry. And really what it comes down to is this, all right? So we have our original supply and demand curve, all right? So let's say there were profits in this industry, all right? And then we saw the supply curve increasing to where, when we had the increase in demand, and then we saw this increase in the supply. So because there were more profits being earned in the industry, we saw more firms enter. So this creates a new equilibrium here, all right? So notice that because this is your old equilibrium down here, and this is your new equilibrium, we're creating a higher price. This is an increasing cost industry. If I were to do this again and create more demand and more supply, and we would find out, and again, the cost is higher. If I were to connect all of these things, these equilibriums, I'll do it in green. If I were to connect these equilibriums here, notice that this supply curve is increasing. This is our long run supply curve, showing us that when we start to have this long run adjustment, and if we connected all of those together and we see an increasing supply curve, this is an increasing cost industry. I can do a decreasing cost industry as well, where we have that increase in demand and then we see a big increase in supply. So we went from this equilibrium down to this one here. So again, if I were to connect those equilibriums and create my long run supply curve, you can see how it's downward sloping, a decreasing cost industry because the equilibrium price is lower. The same thing's going to happen in terms of a constant cost, where we have this increase, increase, to where this was your before and this is your after. And again, if I were to connect all of those together, create my long run supply curve, you see how it's the same. So this is our constant cost industry. So these are your three examples for the type of industry you have in response to the long run supply. Okay.